Within the systems engineering, the quality attributes are realized as the non-functional requirements used to evaluate the performance of a system. These quality attributes can be calculated under both observable as well as the non-observable categories. A microcontroller can be seen as a small computer that consists of a central processing unit, random access memory, flash memory, serial bus interface, and input-output devices on a single chip. The CISC architecture contains a large set of complex instructions that range from very simple to very complex and a specialized instruction. CISC stands for Complex Instructions Set Computing. The status register is a hardware register that contains information about the state of the processor. In MSP430, it contains 2 bytes of length. The bits of the status register consist of carry flag, zero flag, negative flag, interrupt enable flag, CPU off, oscillator off, SCG0, SCG1, overflow flag, and some reserved bits. In case of MSP430, it operates at two different modes, active mode and low power mode. There are different types of low power modes based on the bits that are present in the status register, such as CPU off bit, oscillator off bit, SCG0 bit, SCG1 bit. The various or the different types of low power modes we can switch. In case of RISC processors, we have the registers that are hardwired to a commonly or most frequently used values instead of the general purpose registers. These registers helps in improving the efficiency of the RISC processor by avoiding frequent transfer of data which are used commonly. In case of MSP430, we have constant generator 1 and constant generator 2 registers. These are combined together to give 27 native instructions into a 24 emulated instructions. These emulated instructions, whenever used in a program, sends a particular constant value to the processor for a particular computation. In case of MSP430, for 4 addressing modes, there are 4 different values that can be loaded into a processor. Totally using CG1 and CG2, total 7 constant generators can be used in case of MSP430. The length of instructions in case of MSP430 can be defined in different ways. For example, .w for word, .b for byte, and so on, based on which the byte size of instruction can be optimized. The emulated instructions in case of MSP430 has a standard syntax in the way which it can be represented. In this particular example, we have A, C, and D, which are a proper syntax, whereas star underscore SP equal to source is not an emulated instruction. In case of increment instructions, we have two types of instructions, that is post increment and pre increment. But in case of MSP430, it just supports the post increment addressing, whereas it will not support the pre increment. For performing the pre increment, we need to use a special functions. In case of most of the microprocessors or microcontrollers, we have a specialized instruction to perform the BCD addition. In case of MSP430, we have DADD instruction which performs the BCD addition. In order to add two BCD numbers, the operands in case of MSP430 should be a BCD number represented between 0 and 9. That most of the instructions in MSP430, or for that matter any controllers, will affect the status register. The two instructions, that is bit set and bit clear, that is BIS and BIC, are the instructions that don't affect the status register. Watchdog timer is the timer basically used for the protection as well as for optimizing the power consumption of the devices. In case of watchdog timer, we will have a counter which keeps on counting until a particular condition is met. In case of MSP430, we have WDT-CTL, that is Watchdog Timer Control Register, as well as Watchdog Timer Configure Register. These are the registers which are used to perform the controlling and setting up of watchdog timers in case of MSP430. The WDT ISX bit of watchdog timer control register is responsible for controlling the period of the clock. Watchdog control register is a 16-bit register that is used for controlling the registers, and it is also used for protecting the microcontroller. It usually has a password that has to be written to the watchdog control register. If it doesn't match, the device resets itself. In case of watchdog control register, one of the flag is also called as watchdog interrupt flag register. This is raised when an interrupt occurs. However, we know that the MSP 430 supports various interrupts. Whenever an interrupt occurs, the watchdog timer IFG flag, watchdog WDT IFG flag will be set to 1, and it will be cleared when the interrupt is serviced. The fifth bit of WDT-CTL register is WDT-NMI, which is used to select the edge of the interrupt that is arriving in case of MSP430. Watchdog counter, that is WDT-CNTCL, is the bit that reads 0 in the normal conditions, and whenever a counter value has to be reset, it will set to 1. This is one of the important bit that gives the status of the watchdog timer. The watchdog timers used in various ways. It can be used as a timers, it can be used as counters as well. The WDT-TMSCL bit of watchdog control register makes the watchdog to behave as an interval timer. In the sense, it counts up to a particular interval and it resets. These are usually found in this kind of timers are usually found in case of screen of mobile phones or in such applications. The WDT-PW register is nothing but the password register. Each and every watchdog timer will have its own password that has to be used in order to configure it while using the watchdog timer for configuration. When this password matches, the watchdog timer will be configured. Else, the watchdog timer will reset the entire microcontroller. The process of setting the password and the configuring the watchdog control register is generally called as petting, feeding, and kicking. As we have mentioned in the previous slide, that it is very important to set the password before configuring the watchdog control register. In this particular problem, it is not the correct way to set the watchdog control register because it violates the password protection. The instructions in MSP430 can be categorized in different formats, format 1, format 2, and one without an operand. So here in case of RETI, it is a return from interrupt. Whenever a device, whenever an instruction with return from interrupt, it should have a operand that holds the address to where it has to return. So it comes under format 2 of addressing. In case of format 1, you should have at least two operands in There are, in case of MSP 430, there are basically four addressing modes that are immediate, direct, indirect, and the indexed addressing mode. In case of MSP 430, basically there are four addressing modes. All these four addressing modes will have a source part, whereas when with the destination part is only two. However, we know that the different instructions take different or different number of cycles to execute. This particular instruction where move.w r3 r4, it is the instruction that copies the content that is present in R4 to R3. This happens within the processor, so it takes with one cycle, only with one cycle. So this type of addressing is also called as the register mode of addressing, where the source and destination is the register. The indexed addressing mode is a type of addressing in which it consists of the base address and an offset. The base address will be fixed, whereas this offset keeps on changing based on the location which you are supposed to address. The instruction format for MSP 430 is a mnemonic, the source operand and the destination operand. The example here, move.w x of pc, r6 is an indexed addressing mode where the content here in this case the pc is the base address and x is the offset. If x is the offset, the address x plus pc is the source location and r6 is the content destination location. So the content that is present in the address x plus pc is copied into r6 using this particular instruction. We know that there are four different types of addressing modes, namely the immediate addressing mode, register direct, register indirect, and indexed addressing mode. Since in this particular instruction we have a special symbol at the rate which indicates that this particular instruction belongs to an indirect auto increment addressing mode. Here in this particular question we have two instructions, that is move.w at r5 plus r6 and move.w r6 0 of r5, and we increment r5. Here the instructions perform the same task. The same task can be performed in first case. It performs using a single instruction which is indirect auto increment addressing mode, whereas the other instruction is we will be incrementing after performing the move operation, that is register, that is indexed addressing mode. The at operator in case of any instructions represents the indirect addressing mode, and we also have indirect auto increment mode which will have at some register, and that the value of that particular register will be incremented after execution. So in both the cases, in case of indirect and indirect auto increment, the operator at is common. We have four different types of addressing modes, out of which only two addressing modes are used by the destination registers, whereas in case of source register all the addressing modes can be used. The indirect addressing mode and the indexed addressing mode are the two addressing modes that will be used by the source register, that uses the source register. Some of the addressing modes are represented using some special symbols. In case of absolute mode, the ampersand is the operator that is used to transfer a constant to a register. In case of MSP 430, we have 16 general purpose registers named from R0 to R15,
and out of which R0 is a program counter, R1 is the stack pointer, R2 is the status register as well as constant generator 1, and R3 is the constant generator 2. And the registers ranging from R4 to R15 are used as the general purpose working registers. A subroutine is nothing but a repeated set of codes that are written separately from the main program so that a space can be optimized is nothing but the subroutine. So when a subroutine is called, what we need to do is we need to place the content that is present in the PC, that is program counter, in the stack, so that once we complete the execution of subroutine, it has to return back to the next instruction from where the execution of the instruction has to be resumed. The interrupts are the high priority task that has to be performed. When an interrupt occurs, the processor has to stop the normal execution and it has to execute the instructions that are present in the corresponding vector table. And the multiple interrupts can have a single vector space or vector address, and most of the interrupts are maskable. There are two types of interrupts, maskable interrupts and non-maskable interrupts. And here the interrupts that have the vector address are normally maskable. The MSP430 supports various types of timers such as watchdog timer, basic timer, real-time clock, timer A and timer B. So totally we have 5 different types of timers in it. The watchdog timers are nothing but the timers which are mainly used to escape from a particular situation. For example, in some cases, if the system doesn't recognize any activities within it, in such cases, the watchdog timer automatically resets the device and starts the execution from the beginning. It is to avoid the malfunctions as well as in some cases to even to reduce the power consumption in case of mobile phones. Timer A in case of MSP430 can generate the interrupts, it can also handle the external inputs, or it can also be used for the driving the outputs. So it has 3 functionalities, that is to generate the interrupts, external inputs, handling the external inputs as well as the driving the output. Timer B, unlike timer A, lacks the property of sampling the inputs, that it cannot be used as input device. Timer B is only used for driving the outputs. In case of MSP430, we have the port pins that will be used to transfer the data to and from the device. So a single pin will have multiple functionality in case of the processors. So what happens is, in order to select a particular function, we will have a corresponding registers such as pin out, P1, P1 out, P1 in. We will have pin select, port 1 select register. We will have port 1 direction register. We will have interrupt enable registers. In this particular question, whatever all the registers that are mentioned here are corresponding to the port 1. The pull up and the pull down resistors is used to remove the full output drive on the output pin. What happens is the input that are provided may not be having a sufficient current to drive internally to a controller or a processor. So in such cases, there will be a pull up resistors that will give a feeble amount of current or the required amount of current to drive that particular pin. Most of the pins in case of MSP430 can be used as an interrupt pin. Along with interrupt, it can also be used for other functionality as well. So in such cases, we will have a particular registers whenever the corresponding pin is used for as an interrupt pin. In order to configure that, we have port 1 interrupt enable register and port 1 interrupt edge select register. So in case of interrupts, it can be a rising edge interrupt or a falling edge interrupt or a level edged level triggered interrupts. So here port 1 interrupt enable and port 1 IES edge select registers are the part of interrupt in MSP. SD16_A is a sigma delta ADC which is of having 16-bit resolution, is one of the ADC that is present in MSP430. Along with the SD16, we have successive approximation ADCs as well in case of MSP430. The third pin of port 1 is connected to or used as a voltage reference to this sigma delta ADC. In this particular slide, it is about the low power modes that are supported by MSP430. We have low power mode 0, LPM 0, LPM 3, LPM 4 and so on. Each low power mode has its own mode of operation. In some of the modes, the CPU will be off. In some of the modes, oscillator will be off, and the RAM retention mode is the one in which only a sufficient amount of power is supplied so that the contents in the RAM is not lost. In order to retain the contents in RAM, only the sufficient amount of current is allowed, that is approximately equal to 0.1 amps, and all the other CPU clocks, oscillators, everything will be in off state. So such kind of mode is the RAM retention mode, that is LPM. In the process of converting an analog to digital signal, we have three important processes, that is sample, quantize and equalize. In case of sample, we are sampling it into smaller pieces. The entire analog signal is split into different sections, and each section is equalized to a particular digital number, that is quantizing. And the equalizing is clipping off the uneven part on the top of the sampled signals is equalizing. So the important process of converting an analog signal into the digital is done by the quantizer. In case of analog to digital converters, resolution plays a main role. The resolution is nothing but the amount of change in the input value for a corresponding change of 1 unit. For example, if a current value is, let us assume 100, if that 100 has to be changed to 101, what is the amount of input value changes required is nothing but the resolution. We have different types of ADCs like comparator, successive approximation ADC, sigma delta ADC, and among these the sigma delta ADC is considered as the slower one with higher resolution, whereas the comparator is with a slow speed as well as less resolution, and the successive approximation is one of the efficient in terms of speed and resolution. In case of MSP 430 based processors, we have three different types of ADCs, that is a comparator, a successive approximation ADC, as well as sigma delta ADCs. Based on the resolution and the speed requirement of application, we can choose any of these devices.